Okay, so what the goal is for this chapter is just how do you do all the different math operations with numbers, integers, right? So we looked at adding and subtracting. In the first day, we looked at comparing things with inequalities, which one's bigger, which one's smaller, right? And today, we're going to look at simply multiplying, okay? And I think the hardest part of this chapter, this lesson, is how multiplying can be represented in different formats, right? I like questions like this. Personally, like this, they're pretty straightforward. But sometimes multiplications can be represented on number lines and with shapes and stuff like that. And at this grade level, they want you to be able to interpret those different designs into a multiplication statement. Okay? So we'll do a couple of those, and they'll show up on your assignment. Now, so suppose that you had the multiplication 2 times 3. Okay? And we wanted to do that multiplication on a number line. How it would look like is you draw how big the first number is. So the first number is a positive 2. So we're going to draw a line that's positive 2 in length. Okay? Just like that. No. And no talking, please. Right? Doesn't matter. Nothing out loud. So the next part, the plus 3, tells you how many times to repeat this. So we're going to repeat this 3 times. Well, we already drawn it once, so we have to draw it 2 more times. So a length of 2 here, and it looks like our line's going to run out, so we need to extend this. And I do it 1 more time, and that's the length of 2. Where we end up is the answer. All right? So pretty straightforward. You've been doing that for a while. 2 times 3 is 6, right? All right. But the number line sometimes throws students off. So that's how it shows on the number line. Okay, let's do this one together. Okay, example 1. How would you draw this first term on the number line? Yes, is it Adam, right?
With a line going all the way to -5.
With a line going all the way to -5. Okay, there we go. How many times do we need to repeat this line? 2 times altogether. We already drawn 1 line, right? So Johnny, you're right, just one more, draw it once more. So a line that is 5 long, draw it again. Going in the same direction, right? Okay. And where we end up is the answer, -10. Yay! Not hard. All right, it's just interpreting it. Yes, Adam?
What would you do if it was -5 times -2?
Yeah, the number line sort of falls, the number line method sort of kind of falls apart in that kind of situation. I wouldn't get you to do that, right? Okay, a third method that they ask students to know is using chips, right? Integer chips. So to do this is we draw out the first number. So that's a plus 3. So we draw 3 positive chips. Right? That's what that means. The second number, positive 2, tells you how many times to repeat this drawing. So we need to repeat this drawing twice. So we've already drawn it once. We need to repeat it 1 more time. So as a chip, this is what this multiplication would look like. And what does it equal? We count it up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right? Nice. Okay. So how about this number line question? Same one as this one here. What do we draw here? Right? So we're doing the exact same question here. Right? What would we draw? Adam?
5 negative chips.
5 negative chips. We draw the first one out. So we draw 5 negative chips. 3, 4, 5. Okay? Right? Then how many times do we repeat this drawing? Nick?
Once.
Twice. So we've already shown it once, and I'm going to repeat it one more time. Then we just count them up. If we count it up, how many chips do we have? Right? Yes, Dallas.
What would it be if it was a negative number times the negative number?
Yeah, we won't show that on using these chips. These chips don't really work well for that model, right? So here we have 10 chips, and they're all negative, so we need the minus in front of it. So negative 10, right? The chips work as a good basic understanding of these kind of things. When you get to harder questions, that modeling kind of falls apart, right? Right? So to deal with the situations you're talking about, we just memorized some rules with multiplication symbols, and we did this the other day, right? So if you have a positive and a positive multiplying each other, is the final answer going to be positive or negative? 50-50 chance, Kenny.
Positive.
Positive, thank you. All right? So you need to know that. So it equals positive. Right? If you have a positive and a negative multiplying each other, is the final answer positive or negative? Negative, right? Good. Negative. Okay. How about if you had a negative and a positive? The answer in positive or negative? Adam?
Negative.
Negative. Thank you. Last situation here. If you had a negative and a negative, what would you have? Dallas?
Positive.
Positive, thank you. All right. Oh, and I forgot to draw the negative above. There we go. Right? So, if the two signs are the same, it's positive. Right? That's our notes. Two signs, same, and it's positive. And two signs different, then we have negative. Okay. Yes, Mason. Question? No?
Me?
Yeah? Oh, I thought I saw your hand. Okay. So we're not going to use the chips for most of the stuff we're doing. We're not going to use the number line. But what we are going to use is this. Right? So what we do, our first step is we just look at our signs. And you go, we have a negative sign here and a positive sign here. When we combine these together, is our final number going to be positive or negative? Negative, thank you. All right? Then what we simply do is we do the math operation with the numbers. We have a 5 times 3. Yes, Dallas?
15.
15. Right? Then we just calculate that out, and it ends up being 15. Right? So when we do the quiz for this set of notes and homework, it'll be a no calculator quiz, because I need you to know that you can do this in your head. Right? I'll give you a multiplication chart, so you can look up, if you don't know all your multiplications, you can look up what 3 times 5 is. But I need you to do the positive and negative business. Okay, how about the next one? If we take these two signs, multiply them together, is the final number positive or negative? Negative. Thank you. Okay, oops, that's not the sign I wanted. Negative. Okay, if we multiply the two numbers together, what do we get?
15.
15, awesome. Now, what I want you to notice with this question is these numbers here are reversed. When you're multiplying, the order doesn't matter. Okay? When right? So sometimes you can do things not reading left to right. You can kind of swap them around if it's easier that way. Because like 2 times 3 is equal to 6, but 3 times 2 is also equal to 6. You can reverse those numbers. With multiplying, you can do that. Right? As soon as you throw in like adding and stuff like that or dividing, you can't do that. But with multiplying, it doesn't matter. All right. Okay. So we're going to do this without a calculator. I'm going to just ask you the same 2 questions each time. Okay, first question I'm going to ask you about this one right here. Is the final number positive or negative?
Negative.
Or negative, thank you. Yes. Sorry, who? She is not present. Yeah. Right. Okay. Oh, did I forget to hit OK on my submission? All right. Okay. Next, we're multiplying the 2 numbers. Multiply the 2 numbers together. What do we get? 15. Excellent. Okay. Going across. Combining the 2 signs together. What do we get? Positive or negative?
Negative.
Nicholas says negative. Do you guys agree with Nicholas?
Yep.
All right. Multiply the numbers together. 6 and 2. Multiply. What do you get?
12.
Nice.
13.
Huh?
13.
13?
Yeah.
Oh, I think you're lone man standing here. Okay. Here, we have 2 brackets touching each other. 2 brackets touching each other just means that they're multiplying. Have you guys seen that before?
Yes.
All right.
The dot in the middle too.
Yep. And the dot in the middle also means that you're multiplying. Right? These are all different ways of saying we're multiplying. Right? So, this one right here. 2, yes, who said that? Thank you, Matthew. 2 negatives make a positive.
21.
7 and 3, thank you, Dallas. 21. Okay. Next one to the right here. Final answer, positive or negative?
Positive.
Positive, thank you, Nicholas. 2 positives make a positive. Multiply the numbers. Adam.
36.
Thank you, 36.
Oh.
Right? So the dot also means multiply, right? Instead of an X. And when you get into grade 9 and grade 10, you'll see a little bit more on that because we start using algebra. We start using X's in our equations. So you don't want to use an X in your equation and X for multiplication. That can get confusing. Right? So you start to use dots and stuff like that. So, negative or positive here?
Negative. Negative.
Thank you. Combine the 2 numbers together. 4 times 4, what do we get?
16.
16. Thank you. One on the right. Positive or negative?
Negative. I mean positive.
All right, 2 negatives make a positive. Thank you.
Positive.
Combine the numbers together. 8 and 3, what do we get?
24.
24. Right? Like I said, if you don't know your multiplication, I'll give you a multiplication chart. Right? You'll be able to look it up. Okay. Bottom 2. I threw in a 3rd number here. Can you tell me if this is going to be a positive or negative?
Negative. Positive. Negative.
Whoa.
Negative.
I got like a 50-50 thing here. I hear people saying negative. I hear people saying positive.
It'll be a positive because there's 2 negatives and 2 negatives make positive.
Yeah. So Dallas's reasoning is correct.
So we're going from left to right, right?
Yeah, well, we combine the signs left to right. So if you,
That would be negative.
right,
Positive.
what we do is we count the negative signs, right? If you have at even, these two negatives, if you look at it here, two negatives make a positive, right? One negative makes a negative. So two negatives cancel each other out to make a positive. So if you have an even, oh, that went way big. Where did it go?
Down more.
Down more, down more. There we are. If we have an even number of negatives, they always will cancel each other out to make a positive, right? So this answer is going to be a positive.
Would that mean that the one beside it would be a negative?
Well, let me get there, all right? So what number does this equal?
24.
Matthew says 24. Do you guys agree with Matthew?
Yeah.
All right? Anybody not sure? All right? So for that, you go, because I want to do it one step at a time. You go 4 times 2 is 8, right? Then you still have that times 3 sitting there, right? So you just do 2 numbers first, then you do the third number. And 8 times 3 is 24. So Matthew is right. So the answer is positive 24. Okay? So the question on the right-hand side, Bella goes, is it going to be positive or negative, Bella? What are you thinking?
I thought it would be negative because if they cancel each other out, then the other one must be
Yeah.
negative.
So this is going to be negative, right? We have odd number of negatives. Like this negative and this negative will cancel each other out, right? To make a positive, and you'll have one extra negative sitting there. So our final answer is going to be negative.
So it's negative 30.
So now we need to do the multiplication. Yes, Dallas?
It's going to be negative 30.
Yeah. So once again, to do it in 2 steps, if that is too quick for you, 2 times 3 is 6. We still have that 5 sitting there. 6 times 5 is 30. So the answer is negative 30. Yeah? Good. You guys are fantastic. Okay. Going to the back side of that page. All right, on the back side. Okay, we have blanks here. Okay? So we need to multiply 2 numbers together here and turn it to 20. Can you tell me if this number is positive or negative?
Negative.
Bella?
Negative.
Negative. Because our final answer is positive, right? So we need a negative and a negative to make it positive. Okay, what's the missing number, Bella?
Negative
5. Negative 5. Because 5 times 4 is 20. Okay? And we should probably put that in brackets to make it a little bit nicer. Right? Okay. Scrolling down. Okay. Final answer. Positive or negative? Positive. Thank you, Matthew. 2 negatives make a positive. Okay. Multiplying the numbers together. 5 and 6. What do we get? 30. Okay. Okay. Next one. We have a blank here again. Right? So we have this times the blank equals this. So is the middle missing number positive or negative? Adam.
The answer is positive 8.
Positive 8, he says. It has to be positive. Because a negative times a positive gives us a negative. Right? Then 4 times what gives you 32? And Adam said 8. Right? 4. So it's positive 8 there. And we can put that in brackets as well. All right. Okay. We've got 3 numbers here now. These all multiply to make negative 18. So looking at this, does this missing number have to be positive or negative? Adam?
Positive.
Ooh. I hear like 50-50 from you guys.
Negative.
Positive. Wait, no.
No, it'd be negative. It has to be negative.
Yeah. Okay. So, oops.
Because otherwise the two negatives would cancel each other out
Yeah.
to make a positive.
So we have a negative here and a negative here are going to cancel each other out. Right? So these two are combined to make 6, positive 6. Right? So what number has to go here?
-3.
-3. It has to be 3, because 6 times 3 is 18. And it has to be negative, because we want a positive times a negative to be a negative. So it has to be -3. Okay? Okay. So I'll give you guys a couple minutes. Do these ones. Can you figure out what the missing number is? And here. So, Dallas, second time in this class. Please provide us some push-ups. Adam said the amount you started off with minus what he lost is going to equal how much he weighs. That's what he said, right? You start off on 176 pounds, subtract how much weight he lost, and that's how much money he weighs, right? So it's important to be able to come up with the equation, right? It's part of telling the story, right? Then in here, we're trying to figure out how much he weighs at the end, but before we do that, we need to figure out how much he lost. And Adam goes, so we have to do a little side calculation here. Adam said he lost 2 pounds every month, right? So you did 2 times what did you say, Adam?
2 times 12.
Right? And he said times 12 because there's 12 months in a year, right? So 2 times 12, which is 24. So we go 176 minus 24, and that equaled the 152 that he mentioned. Okay? So then we make a little statement. Right? So we say Jerry weighs 152 pounds. Okay. Next up is just some more word problems examples, all right? So Brad's investments averaged a loss of $45 per week for a year. So every week he's losing $45 on his investments. So that's Brad. All right? Ken loses $180 a month for a year. And the question is, who lost more money and by how much more? Right? So we need to figure out how much money each person lost. And you'll see these kind of reoccurring things happening. We'll talk about days, we'll talk about weeks, we'll talk about months. So you need to know how many days are in a week, how many weeks are in a year, how many months there are in a year. Yes, Adam.
They both lost the same amount of money.
Did they? Well, let me do a calculation here. That does not sound like something that Mr. Dollywood set up. Maybe it is, I don't know. So Brad, let's do Brad lost. So he's losing $45 a week for a year. So how much does he lose in a year? So we need to know how many weeks there are in a year. How many are there? Yes, Johnny? 52. So he's losing $45 a week, and there's 52 weeks in a year. So you multiply those two numbers together. So you go 45 times 52, and we get 2,340. Let's talk about Ken. How much did Ken lose? He lost $180 a month for a year. So how many months are in a year? Yes, Nicholas?
12.
So you multiply that number by 12. So we go 180 times, not multiply, times 12, which is 2,160. 2,160. Okay. So who lost more money? Brad, right? So Brad lost more money. How much more did he lose? Yes, Corbin?
180.
And how did you do that?
I just minus the bigger one from the smaller one?
Yeah. So you just go minus the bigger one from the smaller one to figure out what the difference is. Right? So the difference, so you subtract, so you go 2340 minus 2160, and Corbin said the difference is 180, and those numbers look about right. Right? So now we just say, give a statement. Brad lost 180 more dollars.
So technically, he lost a month's worth of his money more?
Yeah. Entire month's worth. And this is the hardest part of being an adult. You finally save up some money and you put in an investment hoping for it to grow, right, into more money. Then you get your statement and you lost money. It's like, why did I even bother saving it?
Dang it, Bitcoin.
Bitcoin.
Bitcoin? I don't know. I've invested in Bitcoin. I thought about it.
Oh, we have. I have.
You have?
Well, my dad.
Yeah.
I'm my own Bitcoin. We made like $1,200 though.
Yeah, it's all about timing. Right now, it's going down, right? But if you bought it a few years ago, you're laughing.
I mean, you could dollar cost average across the entire span of Bitcoin. You could do that, couldn't you?
You could do what?
Dollar cost average.
What does dollar cost average mean?
Like you buy at one point, but you just like keep a little bit of money every single month, so it kind of averages out.
Oh yeah, that technique minimizes maybe your losses.
Mm-hmm.
It also doesn't maximize your gains, right? Because you're buying constantly all throughout the year, so you're never gonna hit the point where all your money is that you're buying at the very bottom, or all your money you're buying at the very top, right? So it
That's
does.
super rare to do. Buy
Right.
at the bottom.
Yeah, it's very rare, right? It is a strategy that people do, right? An investment guy said that. I'm like, you just sound like you want money from me every single month. I don't know if I'm ready to do that. All right, last question. A plane coming in for a landing loses 800 meters per minute in altitude.
I know what it is.
Right? If the plane took 16 minutes to land, what height did it start off at? Yes, Bella?
12,800 feet.
12,800. So fast. And how did you do that?
I multiplied 800 by 16.
Yeah. So, for the people who maybe didn't get it so quickly, I'm going to draw a little picture of my fantastic airplane.
Whoa.
It's how I do it in grade 3, and this is still how I draw it like 40 years later. Yeah. I know it's talented. All right? Right?
Awesome.
Mine look like a bird.
So the plane is flying, and it's coming down towards the ground, right? And the question says, every minute you drop 800 meters. And Bella goes 800 times 16, but it took 16 minutes for it to drop. So, and 12,800 meters.
Is what it started at before it
Yeah.
started plummeting towards the ground.
Yeah. The plane was at 1,200 meters. And that's it.